In terms of industry analysis, hopefully everybody finds this familiar. After 20 or 25 years of work, we have overwhelming evidence that really industry competition is driven by these competitive forces that we introduced many years ago now. Those competitive forces collectively drive the fundamental attractiveness of the industry, the average profitability of the industry. Here's a simple example in the heavy truck industry in our country. Very difficult industry. If you look at this industry, you see a lot of competitive forces that are challenging. We have a lot of vicious competition on price among the truck manufacturers. We have high regulatory standards which are pushing up their cost to meet those standards, but it's very hard to pass those costs on to the customer because the customer is consolidating into larger and larger fleets and leasing companies that have a lot of bargaining power in order to push down the price. So the combination of rising regulatory costs and a powerful customer is squeezing the truck manufacturers. We see that to make heavy trucks, you make some of the parts in-house. Some companies make more, some companies make less, but you're also having to source things like engines and drivetrain components, axles and things like that. And many of the suppliers of those components that you're buying have very strong brands. And in fact, the trucking company specifies the brand of the parts that they want on the truck. They want a Cummins engine, for example. So you're buying from suppliers who have a lot of clout because they have their own relationship with the end customer. So that squeezes the truck companies, the truck manufacturers in the middle. This is in North America primarily, but the same basic structure exists in many other parts of the world. It actually isn't that hard to enter the industry. Threat of entry and entry barriers are a key part of industry analysis. It's actually harder to get the dealer network than it is to actually get the parts and assemble the truck. And then, of course, trucks are always competing with substitutes. Substitutes, again, all of us hopefully understand what a substitute is. A substitute is a different way of meeting the need that's not the same as your product, but meets the same need that your product does. So if you're a truck manufacturer, the customer doesn't need a truck if they're going to use the railroad, or if they're going to use water transportation. So particularly, as railroads have been a real tough competitor for trucks over the years. Okay, so this is a classic example of industry analysis. It's something that is timeless. Always, every single time you think about strategy, you have to have a systematic, rigorous understanding of your industry and what are the competitive drivers and how are they changing? Are they getting worse? Are they getting better? Where's the new competitive force coming from that you're going to have to deal with if you're going to win in that particular industry?